Stop doubting yourself. Believe in the power of positivity. Vertical bar, a life-changing story. Are you struggling with your studies and wondering how top students achieve such high grades? If so, you've clicked on the right video. In this video, you'll discover 5 powerful techniques that top students use to learn faster, retain information better, and study more effectively. We'll share the inspiring journey of a student who once faced difficulties in memorizing and understanding concepts. However, after learning 5 game-changing strategies from his mentor, he transformed from an average learner into a top performer. Let's dive into his story. The story of a young student seeking wisdom. Once upon a time, in a quiet village, there was a boy who excelled in many areas of life but struggled with his studies. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't retain information or grasp concepts. His classmates often laughed at his mistakes, which made him feel even more discouraged. One day, while walking through a forest, he stumbled upon an old temple. Curious, he stepped inside and observed a group of monks meditating in deep focus. The peaceful atmosphere immediately calmed his restless mind. Gathering courage, he approached a Zen master and humbly said, "Master, I struggle with my studies. I forget what I learn and find it hard to concentrate. Can you help me?" The Zen master smiled and replied, "Certainly, but first, you must understand the essence of studying and how to train your mind. I will share 5 valuable lessons that will help you focus and improve your learning." The 5 life-changing study techniques. 1. To clear your mind before studying. The Zen master handed the boy a jar filled with muddy water and asked, "What do you see?" "Muddy water," the boy replied. The master placed the jar on a table and said, "Let's wait." After an hour, the dirt settled at the bottom and the water became clear. "This is your mind," the master explained. "When it's filled with distractions, you can't think clearly. But when you take time to calm your mind, clarity appears." Tip: before studying, spend a few minutes meditating or taking deep breaths to clear your thoughts. 2. Laid focus on the present moment. The master then lit a candle and told the boy to focus on the flame. At first, the boy's mind wandered, but over time, he trained himself to concentrate solely on the flickering light. The past is gone, and the future is yet to come. When you study, focus only on the present moment, the master advised. Some tip: avoid thinking about past mistakes or future worries. When studying, give it your full attention. 3. Absorb knowledge. Instead of memorizing, the master showed the boy a sponge and a stone, then poured water over both. The sponge absorbed the water while it simply ran off the stone. Many students try to memorize facts like this stone, letting them slip away over time. Instead, be like the sponge, absorb knowledge, understand concepts, and connect them to real-life situations, the master explained. Tip: focus on understanding, not just memorization. Visualize and relate concepts to daily life. 4. Break big tasks into smaller steps. The master gave the boy a large wooden block and asked him to split it into pieces. The boy tried but failed. Then, the master showed him how to chisel it little by little until it broke apart. Studying is the same. If a task feels overwhelming, break it into smaller parts and tackle them one by one, the master advised. Tip: divide your study material into sections, take small breaks, and avoid cramming. 5. Be consistent and persistent. The master planted 2 seed sown he watered regularly, while the other was left dry. In a few days, the watered seed sprouted into a healthy plant, while the other remained lifeless. Your efforts are like this plant. With consistent care, they will grow into success. Even if you study just a little every day, your progress will add up over time, the master explained. Tip: build a habit of daily learning, even if it's just for a short time. The transformation. The boy continued to visit the Zen master, practicing these techniques every day. Over time, he noticed a remarkable improvement in his studies. He became more focused, retained information better, and truly enjoyed learning. Years later, as a successful man, he often recalled the master's wisdom, realizing that these lessons were not just about studying but also about life itself. He learned that success is not just about reaching a destination but about embracing the journey and the lessons along the way. Final takeaway. To recap, here are the 5 powerful study techniques that can help you become a top student. Clear your mind. Meditate before studying to improve focus. Focus on the present. Avoid distractions and be fully engaged. Absorb, don't memorize. Understand concepts deeply instead of rote learning. Break tasks into steps. Study in smaller, manageable sections. Be persistent. Stay consistent. Small daily efforts lead to big results. By applying these techniques, you too can improve your learning abilities and achieve academic success. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content. Stay positive and keep learning. The value of time, a young man's lesson. In a quiet village, there lived a young man named Leo. However, Leo had a major flaw. He was extremely lazy. He always postponed today's work for tomorrow and tomorrow's work for the day after. Because of this habit, he constantly fell behind in his responsibilities and often regretted his procrastination when it was too late. An elderly mentor in the village, known for his wisdom, noticed Leo's habit and grew concerned. He wanted to teach Leo an important lesson about time and diligence. One day, he came up with a plan. The mentor approached Leo and handed him a black stone. With a calm and serious voice, he said, "Leo, this is no ordinary stone. It is a magic stone with a special power. If you rub it against any piece of iron, that iron will turn into pure gold. I am entrusting this to you for a day. Use it wisely, and when I return tomorrow evening, I will take it back." Leo was overjoyed. "This is my chance to become rich," he thought. "I can turn as much iron into gold as I want." But soon, his old habits crept in. Instead of acting immediately, he thought, "It's already evening. I'll have dinner first and go to sleep. Tomorrow, I'll go to the market, buy a lot of iron, and turn it into gold." That night, he dreamt of wealth and luxury. The next morning, he woke up and said to himself, "I have plenty of time until evening. I'll have a nice breakfast first, then go to the market to buy iron." After eating, he felt sleepy and thought, "The mentor will only return in the evening. Why rush? I'll rest a little longer, then go to the market." He lay down, intending to rest for a short while, but ended up sleeping for hours. When he finally woke up, the sun was setting. Panicking, he rushed out of his house to go buy iron, but just as he stepped outside, he saw the mentor standing at the doorstep. The mentor extended his hand and calmly said, "Your time is up. Give me back the stone." Leo pleaded, "Please, let me keep it just a little longer. I will use it now, I promise." But the mentor shook his head and replied, "A lazy person cannot achieve anything in life. You had an entire day to turn iron into gold, yet you did nothing. Time waits for no one, and now your chance is gone forever. This is your punishment for laziness." Leo stood there in shame, realizing that his procrastination had cost him a golden opportunity literally. He had learned his lesson the hard way. With sincerity, he vowed, "I will never be lazy again. I will always value my time and act without delay." This story is a reminder for all of us. We often delay important tasks, thinking we have plenty of time. But time never stops, and lost opportunities never return. If you want to achieve something, do it now, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. You can regain wealth, possessions, and success, but you can never regain lost time. So remember, never put off until tomorrow what you can do today. The disappearing map, a hidden blessing. In a distant land, there lived a young traveler named Orion. Ever since he was a child, he had been fascinated by stories of ancient treasures hidden in the mountains. He spent years wandering from village to village, collecting maps, studying old texts, and listening to the tales of experienced wanderers, all in search of the legendary treasure of the Forgotten Peaks. After years of searching, his dedication finally paid off. One evening, in a small, dimly lit tavern, an old sailor handed him something precious, a weathered, fragile map said to lead directly to the treasure. Orion's hands trembled as he unfolded it, tracing the faded lines and markings. This was it. The key to his lifelong dream was now in his possession. The plan for glory. Excitement coursed through his veins. He imagined finding the treasure, becoming wealthy beyond measure, and finally settling down in a grand home where he would never have to worry about survival again. But amidst the joy, a creeping fear settled in. What if someone else discovered his secret? What if the map was stolen? What if others tried to claim the treasure before him? Determined to keep his fortune safe, Orion carefully rolled up the map and placed it inside a small pouch, which he then hid deep within his travel bag. He knew he had to act quickly. However, doubts began to cloud his mind. Was he truly prepared for such a journey? Should he gather more supplies? Perhaps wait for better weather? The mountains were dangerous, and many had been lost in their treacherous terrain. Instead of setting off immediately, Orion hesitated. He checked and rechecked his equipment, ensuring he had enough food, water, and tools. Days passed as he prepared meticulously, wanting everything to be perfect before embarking on the expedition. The vanishing map. One fateful evening, Orion set up camp in a quiet valley at the foot of the mountains. As he gathered firewood, an unexpected gust of wind swept through the camp, rustling his belongings. Unbeknownst to him, the force of the wind loosened his bag, causing the small pouch containing the map to slip out. The wind carried it away into the darkness, its fragile parchment fluttering like a bird disappearing into the night. When Orion returned, he noticed that his bag was slightly open, but thought nothing of it. He had no idea that his most valuable possession was no longer with him. The next morning, filled with determination, Orion reached into his bag to retrieve the map. His fingers grasped at air. His heart stopped. The map was gone. A wave of panic crashed over him. He tore through his bag, searching every pocket, every crease of fabric. He emptied its contents onto the ground, frantically combing through his belongings. The realization sank in his key to the treasure had vanished. Desperate search. Orion's mind raced. Where could it be? Had someone stolen it in the night? Did he misplace it? He retraced his steps, scanning the area with frantic eyes. He searched under rocks, in the nearby bushes, along the dirt path leading from his camp. Hours passed, but the map was nowhere to be found. Frustration turned into despair. His years of searching, the sacrifices he had made, the hardships he had endured had all led to this moment, and now, because of one careless mistake, everything was lost. He sank to his knees, staring at the horizon, feeling as if the universe had played a cruel joke on him. Had he acted sooner, had he not hesitated, he would have already been on his way. Instead, he had waited too long, and now his dream was slipping through his fingers like sand. A fateful warning. Days later, as he prepared to leave the valley, feeling defeated, Orion stopped by a nearby village to restock supplies. While sitting in a marketplace, he overheard a conversation that made his blood run cold. A group of treasure hunters had set out towards the Forgotten Peaks just a few days before him. They had followed rumors of the hidden riches, hoping to claim the treasure for themselves. But none of them had returned. The villagers spoke in hushed voices about the dangers lurking in the mountain Streacher's cliffs, sudden landslides, hidden traps set by the ancients to protect their secrets. Those who dared to enter often never came back. Orion felt a chill down his spine. Had he followed the map as planned, he would have walked straight into the same deadly fate. The loss of the map, which had seemed like a disaster, had actually saved his life. A new perspective. That night, Orion sat by the fire, staring into the flickering flames, deep in thought. He had spent so long chasing the idea of treasure, believing it was the key to his happiness. But now, he saw the truth riches meant nothing if he was not alive to enjoy them. What he had once seen as a terrible misfortune was, in reality, a hidden blessing. He thought about all the things he had taken for granted, the kindness of strangers he had met on his journeys, the beauty of the world he had explored, and the simple joy of being alive. Perhaps true wealth was not gold or gemstones, but the experiences, the knowledge, and the wisdom gained along the way. He smiled to himself, feeling lighter than he had in years. The treasure he had sought was not meant for him, and that was okay. There were other adventures to be had, other stories to live. And this time, he would not be blinded by greed. The lesson. In life, we often chase after things we believe will bring us happiness, wealth, success, recognition. But sometimes, what seems like a great opportunity can lead us down a dangerous path. Not everything lost is truly a misfortune. Sometimes, it is a blessing in disguise, protecting us from harm we cannot see. Orion had lost his map, but in doing so, he had gained something far more valuable: perspective. He learned that true wealth is not measured by riches, but by the safety, wisdom, and experiences that shape our journey. We must learn to trust that when things don't go as planned, it is not always a loss, it is often a hidden blessing, guiding us toward a better path.